What's going on, YouTube? It's a beautiful day out here in mid-Ohio, and I'm only thanking God that I don't live in Spain right now. I don't know if you guys heard about this shit, but their power, the whole Iberian Peninsula, if you want to get real fancy with it, Spain and Portugal lost power earlier today, and it's like, I mean, millions of people without power. So, like, basically, the entire country is without power right now. Something like 48 million Spanish people without power, and like 10 to 11 million Portuguese with no electricity. As of right now, from what I've seen and heard, and I tried to do a little look up on it, see what's going on, latest reports, they don't know what caused it as of right now. Obviously, because there's no answer, the speculation's running rampant. The first big thing I saw was cyber attack, but I mean, I don't know necessarily why anybody would just attack Spain and Portugal. Like, I don't know what the point would be. I'm assuming we'll get the details. It'll come out. There was some critical key point of failure that somebody overlooked, and it failed, as it will eventually. And then you live and you learn, and it sucks to be in Spain right now for probably a couple days, up to a week, I think is what I was seeing. They might be without power. I mean, this isn't the craziest thing. I grew up in the middle of the sticks out here in the country, so I'm no stranger to losing power. But if you lose power in a city, I'm assuming it's quite a bit worse, honestly, just because everything's more integrated, everything's more jammed up together. It's just not the same. So, like, if you live in an apartment building and you have no power, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's worse. Maybe it's not. We had here where I live, actually, we had no power for like 4 or 5 days. I think that was only like 2 years ago or so. 2 years ago, we lost power. All it takes is a good tree to fall on the power line that runs into town or something, and you're out of power. And it just so happened it was a big storm. A lot of trees fell. A lot of power lines got taken down. So no AC in the middle of summer. No fridge. Everything in the fridge went bad. Had to be thrown away. No ice. No everything. You know what I mean? It all goes bad. And we didn't have a generator because we're just in an apartment. So you just get screwed. Happens every once in a while. Now, if all of Spain, total different game. I mean, a couple thousand people in rural Ohio lose power, it's one thing. Even hundreds of thousands in Cali when we have these blackouts and the forest fires and stuff. Not quite the same as the whole country losing power. So yeah, cyber attack was the big thing that I saw pop up. Like I said, I don't see how that really makes any sense. The other big one was people going after renewable energy in the sense of it failing to provide for the country. Spain actually which, I mean, I don't know if it's irony or what it is. It's coincidence, I think not. April 16th, so literally 12 days ago, they celebrated their first day of 100% fully renewable power on their grid. So solar, wind, hydro, they were able to completely fulfill the demand of their grid, all renewable, for a random weekday, 12 days ago. And then 12 days later, your country's electrical grid fails and the whole country's without power. Now, I'm not saying it's renewable energy's fault or anything like that. I'm kind of a big fan of renewable energy. I don't necessarily like the way we do it as of right now and the way it gets pushed, especially in the United States. It's big on solar and wind, the two least reliant ones in my opinion, and I think it's pretty easy to show that in the facts. You could look it up. I'm a big nuclear fan. Hydro is good stuff too. I don't see any downside really with hydro, but you can't have hydro everywhere. Nuclear energy though seems like the winning ticket. It's expensive as shit. That is a giant downside, but hey, it's reliable, it's cost effective once it's built, it lasts a long time, and the people who work in the field, it's very safe, even with all the Chernobyl fear porn or whatever you want to call it that people put out there about nuclear energy, like nuclear disasters and things like that. Still the safest energy source as far as I know. But Spain isn't running off nuclear. I know France is a big nuclear energy producer, and Germany I thought was, but I don't think they are anymore. I think they actually thought about closing their nuclear energy plants, and then they brought them back online after the Ukraine thing happened, and they had to generate more power, so they left them on. And I think because of this thing that happened in Spain and Portugal, actually France, Netherlands, and Belgium lost power temporarily, at least. I think they're back up now. But since the EU is a lot more interconnected, it's a little bit different. But I mean, this was a huge thing. It'll be very interesting to see what actually happened. I'm interested to see what happened. I don't know. You speculate in the comments below. You tell me what you think. But like I said, I think it was the most likely thing I've seen so far is, like I said, just a general failure. Or if the renewables just weren't producing and they've transferred a lot of their demand onto renewables with no natural gas backups, or I don't think anybody, I mean, not anybody, but people still use coal-fired plants, but I'm sure in the EU they don't really use coal-fire. I'm sure they're using natural gas plants and like nuclear as backup. But if they couldn't meet the demand and something happened and it failed, I mean, this is where we go. I've seen a couple things that didn't make any sense where people are talking about renewables ability as far as like the inertia. I don't know if you know anything about power generation, but almost always if it's spinning, like all the burning of something is turning it to steam and then spinning a generator. And if it's already spinning, like wind, it spins the turbine itself. It's spinning the windmill. It generates the wind turbine. People, it's not a windmill. Don't comment me in the comments. And then solar, I guess, is the one different one that it just generates electricity using the cells in the solar panels themselves. Nuclear, same thing. Heat up water, boil water, turn turbine. That's the general way we create electricity. And there's inertia associated with the generating of the electricity. These things spin. They're huge machines spinning, so they have some leftover rotational energy, even if the generation part shuts off. So I've seen some stuff that doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't see how that really works. But solar and wind are finicky. If there's no wind, you don't have power. And if you don't have batteries that have been soaking up all the excess energy, that's where it is. Same with solar. If it's cloudy, it's not going to produce as much as it can. It's not going to be up to snuff. So all kinds of things can happen. That's why I like nuclear. Nice and sturdy energy, constant energy. Yeah, it has a bad public image, I think, but hopefully we'll fix that eventually and just move over to that generally. If you want to argue with me about nuclear energy, please do in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I like learning about nuclear. It's pretty cool stuff. But I don't know. Like I said, you tell me what you think happened. I don't have the details yet, but it's a pretty insane story, and it's not political or financial, but I mean, that's world events, that's current events, that's big time geopolitical stuff for a whole country to lose power like that. So we'll see where it goes. Got another little segment, I guess, coming up after this. I got another thing to talk about today, some jobs, numbers, stuff, but I'll catch you guys in the next one.